Alrighty. Here we go. Check my volume here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hi. Oh, I don't have it turned up. Whoops.
Power, okay? And the West will work together and the East will work. How they are.
I'm going to start off with Glenn Beck.
And the West will work together and the East going to package this New World Order. Joe Biden came out and he knows using the terms New World Order is not a good thing to half of the country. But he's talking about a New World Order, and they're going to start packaging this New World Order as a way to get away from globalization. Now, that's not really what it is. It is a bipolar world again. There will be an axis. We're going back to the Cold War. There'll be an axis and allied power, okay? And the West will work together and the East will work together. And they're starting to package this because this is the second time I've seen this in the New York Times. Look at this. A Ukrainian war and pandemic force nations to retreat from globalization. How many times have we asked on this program, are we making our own medicine? How about, our own oil, gas? Can we get independent on a few things because we're way too dependent on China? Nobody's actually ever done anything about that. But this is the way this is being spun. Mr. Biden, according to the New York Times, already frames his foreign policy in ideological terms as a mission of unifying democracies against autocracies. Mr. Biden also says he's enacting a foreign policy for middle-class Americans. Wow, it's working out. And central to getting companies to move critical supply chains and manufacturing out of China. The goal is given urgency by the hobbling of these global links over the last 2 years of the pandemic. Now, have you heard anyone make this case to the American people? That's a pretty good campaign thing to run on, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't run on that. I think they are working in reverse here. They're looking for a narrative to sell all of this stuff. So the narrative is going to be, we're getting away from China. Warning. Okay, so yesterday there was another step taken for the delisting of Chinese stocks. And they say that is going to happen in the next couple of years. Now, let's look at, by the way, we also announced yesterday more sanctions are coming on Russia, and we threatened China. If you help them at all, we're coming after you, too. Oh, are we? Are we really? Okay. I told you years ago that war is the way you change maps and currencies and everything else, because at the end of a global war, it's been so horrible that it doesn't matter that you don't go back to the way things were. You just want the war to end, okay? So if you were really interested in peace, would you not, if you were an honest person, would you not just continue the Abrahamic Accords? Continue in the direction, because we saw more movement in the Middle East towards peace and unity than we've ever seen in my lifetime under Donald Trump. You may not like him, you may not like his tweets, whatever. But if you are actually interested in the Middle East not being chaotic, you would continue down that road. Even if you thought it was wrong, you might just continue it until it starts to fall apart.
Right. Like if you at the beginning thought that these changes would create a new conflict in the region, which wasn't a completely unreasonable thought. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I can understand why people thought it might. But since those haven't materialized and we have seen peace in the region since they occurred, wouldn't you continue to go down that road, at least until something changed?
I would think so. Now, let me show you what's happening in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia won't take our phone call. So they're now selling their oil to China. They got a bigger, they've said enough of the old, in with the new. So they're not even taking Joe Biden's phone call. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Joe Biden has said, we don't like Saudi Arabia and blah, 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 blah. Well, who does? Except for the king of Saudi Arabia. But that's always been the deal, and we've always been there to back them. So now we've taken Russia, a huge oil field, Saudi Arabia, huge oil field, and Iran, huge oil field, allowed them to open it up for the rest of the world, just not the West. We've forced them together, and they've taken all of that oil, and they're pumping it east instead of west. That's destabilizing for the West. Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons why Saudi Arabia is so mad at us is because Joe Biden went in and reopened the Iran deal and tried to bring all of these blessings of all of the things that Joe Biden did under Barack Obama and bring that back to life. Okay, this is a really, really bad deal. First of all, Tehran attacked Iraq with ballistic missiles last month, and through its Houthi proxies in Yemen, they launched a missile and drone strike on Abu Dhabi in January, and I believe they just launched another strike over the weekend in Saudi Arabia. So how is this happening? Well, Iran is getting stronger, and they're also going to have a whole bunch of extra money because now they can sell their oil, and it's not slowing them down on a nuke. So we're not only looking at instability, we're looking at a possibly nuclear-armed Iran with a lot of money. This is why, and you're not going to read this very often anywhere, but check the Israeli papers. This is why Israel is practicing bombing runs on Iran, because they know that they're going to have a nuke and they have to take it out. So now you have Iran and Russia and China partnered, and you have Israel going and attacking with what is said to be a massive attack that is coming, and they're not hiding it. They're telling, if this deal goes through and we are left alone, we are going in. So now you have a major attack on Iran. Do you think that might cause a war in the Middle East? Which side are we on? For the first time in my life, I don't know. But that would make it a two-front war. And quite honestly, if that's happening with Israel, and there's a real war going on with Israel and a real war going on with the Ukraine, if I'm President Xi, I just go into Taiwan. I just go in. Because what is the world going to do? You're going to fight that war too? Nope.
Without those wars, he basically went into Hong Kong and nobody said anything.
Exactly right.
So, I don't see why Taiwan would be any different. And we wouldn't even be able to do the things that we were doing in Ukraine as far as supplying them. Just the geography of that situation doesn't allow for it in an ongoing conflict. So what do you do? What is Iran hoping for here?
Iran wants to annihilate Israel.
Yeah, well, that's always their long-term hope. But are they seeing a path out of their sort of isolation here? Because if they ally with China and Russia, you'd think they would be less likely to get the benefits of a nuclear deal that obviously benefits them. Why would they be signing it?
So let's just remember where Iran came from. Remember, that was the land of Persia. What happened to Persia? When did Persia become Iran? Persia became Iran during World War II, when the head of Persia and the the Grand Imam in Jerusalem, at the mosque in Jerusalem, became very big Hitler fans. They loved Hitler. We have several pictures in our museum of all of these guys meeting with Hitler. They had their own SS guard to round up Jews. I mean, most people don't know that. We have the uniforms here in our museum. It's a really bad thing. The word Persia went away. The name Persia went away. It was a gift to Hitler. They changed Persia to Iran. Translation, Aryan. They said to Hitler, "We are your Aryan nation." Okay? So that kind of craziness is baked into the religious zealots. For generations, it's baked in.
Aryan
Hitler was right.
They changed it to Aryan.
So I don't know if you can say any more than it's an Axis ally that doesn't mind slaughtering people, just like Russia, just like China. They have their own design, but now this is Gog and Magog. I don't remember which one is which, but one of them is Russia and the other one is Iran. Those are the modern day names for those. Those two are the ones that come against Israel. I could see that easily happening. Easily.
So these three countries that we're talking about is Iran, Russia, China.
Mm-hmm.
There are different motivations for all of them.
Correct.
Here. When you look at the motivations, Iran, you're saying, is more of a theocratic, ideological bent. How would you describe Russia and China's motivation here?
China just wants to gobble up as much as possible.
Empire building, pragmatism.
Russia wants Europe. So I think what they're all thinking to themselves, because you have to include on that new axis, India.
That's terrifying.
India
was our one.
Yes.
The one thing we could look to for hope in a large country, heavily populated, that was a big fan of the United States and the largest capitalist, in theory, country on earth.
They have just thrown their weight with Russia and with China.
And that's Biden. You can't. They love Donald Trump.
Right.
Do you remember the rallies they had in India for Donald Trump? The president loved Donald Trump. We had a really good relationship with India when he was president.
Yeah, they loved him. One more thing. If you're Iran and the United States just gave you permission to have Russia come in and build more nuclear facilities, are you celebrating if you're Iran? I would be if I'm them. And by the way, are you happy if you're Russia? Yeah, because they don't think that they would use the nukes on them. They'll use the nukes on Israel and some of their enemies in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. And if Saudi Arabia gets nuked, who cares? We have oil, then they don't. This is a really touchy situation. And if you're not down on your knees every day praying to God for our country, asking for forgiveness on the things that we have done and continue to do, please start.
Amen. Because if you repent, then God can heal the land. There's scripture for that. So I have a couple of articles about Iran. Let's see. Working on it here. Sorry. Oh man, there's some really crazy stuff happening. Iran. Here it is. Okay. So this one just says Iran's foreign minister says that the nuclear deal is closer than ever. Whoa. Hey, Power. Glad you could make it. Good to see you. It says Iran Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian, I don't know how to say that name, said on Wednesday that the Islamic Republic and world powers are closer than ever to reviving the 2015 nuclear deal. So they're getting close on they're finalizing it. During a press conference in Damascus alongside Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad, he also said Tehran welcomes new talks between Syria and certain Arab countries. They're going to have to. So I'm not sure if Tehran, Iran, the Islamic Republic, their guard is now listed as a terrorist organization, or off the list of being a terrorist organization, but they're going to be, or they're mulling it over. They're working on it. And so I don't understand how that plays a part in this. I'm kind of confused. So what was in the last nuke deal? Does anybody know? I know they gave Iran a bunch of money, like billions. And then here's the Club of Rome, where they gave the regions. Again, I had it in my clips up here yesterday, but it looks like I was trying to find India, but it's like South Asia, South and Southeast Asia is a region. South and Southeast Asia is number 9 on there, which is India, but there's also like just a bunch of islands and stuff that goes with India. So I just, based on what Glenn Beck was saying, I was wondering if it would be included with China as a region, as like sucked into that region. This doesn't look good, guys. It looks like nuclear war somewhere, and we know in the Bible that Edom gets nuked, or it becomes like Damascus, like not Damascus. My head's not like today. Like I'm not all that straight today. Okay, it says USA threatens China with war. I meant to say Sodom and Gomorrah, and I'm not sure even where Sodom and Gomorrah is on the map. But Iran will be like glass, like them, like nuked. It says in the Bible. They name it Edom. Okay, USA threatens China with war. Can you believe this? Due to Beijing's large military buildup in the South China Sea. I showed it the other day, but I didn't know that they were like, this has been going on for a while, where they're making these islands with military landing strips and building up the military on these little islands. And I showed 3 of them. And it says, U.S. Navy commander has warned that the U.S. will be prepared to fight and win a war against China should deterrence prove unsuccessful in the Indo-Pacific, and claims Beijing is militarizing the region. U.S. Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral John C. Aquilino said in an interview with the Associated Press published on Sunday that over the past 2 decades, China had been conducting the largest military buildup since World War II. Are you noticing that you're hearing World War II, World War I, a lot of talk about World War II? It's like history's getting ready to repeat itself. And that their buildup of weaponization is destabilizing the region. And they keep saying that too. They're, destabilizing the region, with the nuke deal and everything. Aquilino claimed that while the United States military mission is to prevent war in the region, the Pentagon would be ready to fight and win in a conflict against China. Aquilino has accused China of militarizing islands in the disputed South China Sea and turning them into fortresses with anti-aircraft and anti-naval weaponry. The admiral called it a part of China's wider effort to expand the offensive capability of the PRC beyond their continental shores, and claimed Beijing would use the islands to fly fighter jets and bombers during a potential conflict. So, U.S. threatens China with war if they keep doing this military buildup, and they're going to go after Taiwan. China is. So, that's what Glenn Beck was like confirming to me, that the things that we're hearing, they're serious. Okay, I think that was all I had on the Iran. I'm sorry, the dog's snoring. Might put you back to sleep. Okay. There's a lot of violence going on, and I just want to keep highlighting that this is gonna probably, we know it's gonna increase. Jesus told us it was gonna increase because of the days of Noah. Right before the flood, there was violence like all over the place. Police shut 2 motorways in a hunt for escaped prisoner. Drivers were forced to sit in their cars for hours on Wednesday after police closed 2 motorways in the hunt for an escaped prisoner. Cheshire police. I'm just thinking about like going down the rabbit hole here. Okay, stopped all traffic in every direction on the M56 at the junction with the M6 northbound at 6 p.m. as officers tried to find Jonathan Simpson. This guy's name's Jonathan Simpson. He's escaped from jail. I don't know what he was in jail for. Maybe we'll find out. Simpson, 40, was last seen and around. Okay, drivers are left waiting. Some stuck on the road. He described having an ice cream van was selling sweet treats. I don't know why, but I keep seeing ice cream. And it's not good because I'm seeing Joe Biden's face. Oh, just looking at the Economic Forum pictures today. Can you guys see above my head? Let me kind of go through with you real quick on this. I should finish the story, but all right. Simpson, who has links to the West Yorkshire area, is described by police as a white male, 5'11", with black shaved hair. He has green eyes, a beard, and was seen wearing. He's gonna shave his beard. Wearing a dark navy Under Armour tracksuit and has crystal tattooed on his upper right arm. I would just put, like, if you had a girlfriend named Crystal and you like loved her so much and then you broke up, you could just draw Crystal Hamburger. You guys know what those are. They're like little White Castles. Some places call them White Castle. Here it's Crystal Burger. It's like a little cheeseburger. Put that on his arm. While numerous inquiries are ongoing, we're urging anyone who sees Simpson not to approach him, but instead call Cheshire Constabulary Constabulary immediately on 999. I don't even know where this is. Oh, it's in the UK. So look out, UK. They're probably asleep now. Officers will be maintaining a presence around the prison and in local area to provide a reassurance to the community. If you have any concerns, please do speak to one of them. They didn't even tell what he was in jail for. Oh, Daisy. I'm gonna throw something at her. How about a pen? Ready? Daisy. She's having a nightmare. She'll go, don't ya? If she's having a bad dream. Alright, so this guy, we don't know what he did, but they're hunting him down. And he's in the UK. Alright, Mariupol, Ukraine. This is a minute 44. I'm kind of scared to look. In apocalyptic Mariupol.
Rages across Ukraine, people living in the port city of Mariupol are facing a humanitarian disaster.
They've been going now almost a week with no electricity, no heat, no running water, no sewage, no communication. They are completely cut off.
The Ukrainians describe it as medieval times.
The situation here in Mariupol is very tense and distressing and dangerous for civilians living here.
В первую очередь женщины, дети, старики, мужчины. Вы можете пойти и найти воды.
In the past few days, we've seen thousands of people displaced from their homes in neighboring villages coming here to seek refuge.
Мы здесь находимся с первого дня, начали бомбить. У меня 7 деток, я одна, то есть мы без ничего сюда пришли, мы здесь нам помогают. То есть мы нуждаемся в питании, в одежде, в батарейке, все возможное, что нужно для повседневного.
То, что есть пока, делитесь между собой, пока есть гуманитарная помощь в Запорожье, но пока она не может идти. Помощь в Запорожье, но пока она не может идти.
Why shouldn't I cry? I want my home. I want my job. Bless the Lord. I'm so sad about people and about the city and the children.
Attempts to evacuate civilians have so far failed, and with no running water or electricity and dwindling food supplies, residents are left trapped in the besieged city.
Pray for Mariupol, guys. They said, "Oh, people
Gillette
will see
introduces
this,
the all-new
and then
Gillette
they
Labs
will not,
with exfoliating
they won't even remember. They'll just forget about us." Mariupol is on fire. This is just an example of what they're going to do to all of us. I just, I keep thinking about that. Like, we're not, impervious or something? Daisy's my doggy, yes. Daisy dog. And take a picture of her. Daisy dog. Here you go. She's sleeping. See her? She's a good girl. I love my dog. She's great. Man's best friend. Or girl's best friend. I know what a woman is. Do you guys know what a woman is? Oh, Sputsy. We had to find that yesterday, didn't we? That story about that judge who didn't know what a woman was. You guys want to see that? Let me find it. Kind of laid back today, guys. I feel like that cat. I feel like, you know, at least tomorrow's Friday, and I got so much to do in the garden. I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably perk up a little bit when I get in the garden. I got up so early this morning. Okay, Sputsy gave me a
Hey Babylon Bee audience.
Video
Good
about
talking
what
to you.
is a
Kyle
woman.
here, editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee.
With Tucker.
I want to do...
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. In the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee asked Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Jackson, what should have been the easiest question ever posed. Can you define what a woman is? Now imagine, put yourself in her position and imagine how relieved Jackson must have been when she heard that question. Here she stayed up all night trying to memorize obscure case law from 19th century and court precedent. And when she finally gets to the hearing room, all the Republicans say different things. Nature is real. Women menstruate. Women give birth and then breastfeed. Men do not do these things because they can't. Not a single man in all human history has ever had his period or delivered a baby. And I know this, Senator, because I'm a woman myself. In fact, that's why I'm here. Joe Biden nominated me to the Supreme Court because I am female, and he has said so himself many times. The president knows exactly what a woman is. If he didn't know, he wouldn't have picked me, obviously. So please, Senator Blackburn, do not waste my time. With all respect, that is an incredibly stupid question. Imagine if she said that. What an answer that would have been. Do you know a single person who wouldn't have cheered? We would have. Honesty is a wonderful thing to watch, no matter where it comes from. But that is not what Ketanji Jackson said. Here was her actual answer.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context. So I'm not a biologist.
Oh, I'm not a biologist. You following this? So only a biologist is allowed to tell you what a woman is. And Ketanji Jackson, incredibly impressive as they tell us she is not, she just reminded us, a biologist. Not that it would make any difference if she were a biologist, because no one in the Democratic Party cares what biologists think about biological sex. Biologists have been banned, along with a lady who writes Harry Potter novels. In 2022, the power of science and literature crumble in the face of the trans lobby. So actually, Ketanji Jackson's academic credentials are not, strictly speaking, all that relevant here. But still, pause for a second and marinate in the awe-inspiring stupidity of her answer. What's a woman? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Oh, we see how this works. Hey, Ketanji Jackson, is it raining? I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. How would you respond to someone who said something like that? You'd probably give up and find someone else to talk to. That person was not capable of conversation. So last night we said we wanted to see Ketanji Jackson's LSAT scores, but that's no longer necessary. We can say with certainty she is clearly a subgenius and probably shouldn't be on the Supreme Court. What's a woman? Definitely the most revealing question ever asked in a Senate confirmation hearing. And one of the many things it reveals is how utterly the Democratic Party as an institution has changed in just 4 years. It's a mile marker that tells us the evolution of the party. So during the last Supreme Court nomination, you'll remember, we were commanded to believe that all women must be believed regardless of whether or not they were telling the truth. They're women. Therefore, in the name of social justice, you must accept whatever they say at face value. A woman's word is like a sworn affidavit. You can take it to the bank. Here's Kamala Harris to explain.
Let's speak truth about what we've all been talking about the last few days and again this evening, which is that Supreme Court process. Let's speak the truth. It was a sham. And
okay, I think that's just about it about the women, right?
True. Ask yourself. Two men get in a bar fight, one of them punches the other in the face. What's your response to that? Come on, guys, take it outside. A man and a woman get in a bar fight, the man punches the woman in the face. What's your response to that? Well, if you're a normal human being, you're horrified. Punching a woman in the face is not just a felony, though it is a moral crime. Decent people don't punch women in the face, period. A man's best instinct is to protect women. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It makes a civilization civilized. That's why we don't send expectant mothers into battle. Got that, you degraded freaks? Pregnant flight suits
degraded
are an attempt
freaks?
to make us deny our most basic instinct, an instinct that we should not be ashamed of. Joe Biden had this instinct. He noted it. He was absolutely right. Why was he right? Because men and women are not the same. We're not saying one is morally better than the other. They're morally equal, but they're different on the deepest levels, beginning with biology. Every person on earth knows this is true. We are born knowing it, but now they're commanding you to pretend otherwise, to deny nature and suppress your most basic and valuable instincts. They're telling you you have no right to be more upset when a woman is injured, when a woman gets her ear bitten off in a bar fight than when a man does. Are you ready to suppress those instincts? Are you ready to live in a society that won't acknowledge them? What happens to our justice system if we pretend men and women are exactly the same or don't exist? Ketanji Jackson's claim that we can't say who's a man and who's a woman will transform the way we administer justice, starting with our vast regime of anti-discrimination law. If we can't say for certain who's a woman, how are we going to enforce Joe Biden's famous Violence Against Women Act? Why do we have such an act? Who would care? How can we set aside a huge percentage of federal contracts for women-owned companies if we don't know what a woman is? Oh, I guess that scam's going to have to end tomorrow because it no longer makes any sense. And by the way, how is sexism even a meaningful category in a world in which sex has no meaning? Well, it's not. Why have Title IX, which bans sex discrimination in schools? If we don't have biological sex, how can we have discrimination on the basis of biological sex? Thinking this through? The Trump administration thought it through. Actually, they saw this coming. We should tell you that. The Trump White House tried to preserve Title IX by arguing that the concept of sex as defined in that law derives from biology, not from how you're feeling about your personal identity on any particular day. That's the case they made. In response to that, they were denounced as right-wing lunatics. The ACLU declared
I'm going
that,
to
quote,
cut this short because we kind of went over this yesterday, but I did miss that part where she actually says it, so I wanted to put that on there. Let me show you something really funny, though. Okay, let's see. Where did I put it? General? Yeah, okay. You make it big. Hold on. To take a screenshot of it. That's how I had to do all these. Name them and all that. Gender. We'll call it gender. Okay. There was 4 people. Okay, yeah, let me show you this though real quick. This is kind of funny. It's a little break to our day. Honestly, it's that simple. See? It's that simple. Just looky down in your undies. A 4-year-old could tell you what a woman is. What was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Hi, Apple. How are you doing today? How is everybody? So good to see you all. Can't wait till Bible study tonight where we can talk and be together. So, I gotta be really serious here for a second, because a lot of people are losing hope, and I could cry about this, that people feel that hopeless, because it doesn't matter what's going on around you and you feel hopeless. If you have Jesus, you have hope. So I just want to say that before I read the story about how these people jump together. I had a friend a long time ago. Her and her boyfriend, they went up on a hotel and they jumped together. And they thought they were going to be together. Now, I believe that God is fair. He knows your heart and everything. But if you take your life, I'm not sure if you lost hope. And hope is Jesus. So, I don't know. I pray that people, have Jesus, and when they jumped, that they, went to heaven. But I don't know. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do that. Don't kill yourself. There's always somebody in a worse position as you. I love coffee too. I had my cup this morning. I'm drinking some cranberry now. But yeah, you can just count your blessings, right? Be thankful and trust the Lord. Put your hope and trust in Jesus. And I know everybody in our chat room here, they can give you some good advice too if you're feeling hopeless. So if anybody ever watches these videos or comes in live and they need prayer, just say, I need prayer, and we'll pray for you. 4 people are dead after a group of 5 reportedly jumped in unison. Oh my gosh. If 5 jumped and only 4 are dead, that means somebody broke some things and now they're in the hospital. Oh dear. 5 reportedly jumped in unison from a 7th floor apartment balcony around 7 a.m. Thursday in the Swiss resort town of Montreux on the banks of Lake Geneva, Switzerland. Isn't that where CERN is? Somewhere near the Switzerland border? Vaud police spokesman Alexander Bezens said the group seems to have visibly thrown themselves into the void from an apartment, landing hard on the pavement below, where they were found by passerby. 4 people were pronounced dead at the scene. A survivor is said to have potentially catastrophic injuries and is in grave condition at a local hospital. None of the jumpers were wearing shoes, according to the witnesses who saw the bodies. Neighbors on the 7th floor of the residential apartment block told police that a family of 5, 2 adults in their 40s, 2 teenagers, and a grandmother moved into that flat 3 years ago. Police did not confirm whether the jumpers were that family. Well, there's 5 of them. I can't see a grandma doing that, though. We heard nothing from their home. The father never said hello in the hallway and ordered many packages almost daily. Claude Rouler, who lives nearby, told Le Temps newspaper. He added that a strong smell of incense had been wafting from underneath the apartment door for the last few days. One neighbor who saw the bodies on the pavement told the paper that many people in the building thought the family belonged to a cult. Many of the residents heard the sound of impact as the bodies hit the ground. Oh. reportedly at the same time, which led police to refer to the incident as a group jump. Forensic police are combing the apartment for clues about what led to the horrific tragedy, including whether anyone else could have been in the apartment leading up to the incident. Residents share photos and theories on the apartment WhatsApp group, according to local media. It was a 6:45. I got out of the shower, I had a coffee, and I heard a thud. A neighbor told the paper. I thought it was a bad film. I couldn't look at the image for more than a few seconds. If you or loved one are struggling with suicidal thoughts, they're saying reach out to the prevention line, but I'm going to add to that, like if you can't get through that line or something like that, just pray. Ask Jesus to be, your savior, and he'll help you through whatever your situation is. And nothing's ever the same in the morning. When you wake up, everything's new. God's mercies are new every morning. And I'm just going to read this again. I know it's right above my head. It keeps going through those things, but these are my cards that I have that I look at every day. And this one I picked has some special meaning to it, but maybe I'll have special meaning to you too. The commandments of Jesus is the love your neighbor as yourself. They're really going off out there. And to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, or all your strength. And this is 1 John 3:22. It says, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do things that are pleasing in his sight. In the book of God's love, he assures me that my strength, it shall be as my day, that for each present need I shall find him. My supply, he's my supply, every step of the way. So let your footsteps follow after Jesus and his commandments of love. Because if you have love, you can read 1 Corinthians 13. Talks about what love is. Man, they're really going off. Sorry about all the racket. So love is patient and kind and gentle. Doesn't keep record of wrong. It's not jealous. It's not puffed up. It never fails. The love of God never fails. Love casts out fear too. Perfect love casts out fear. So if you just keep the love of God in your heart, then you'll get through things. Rebecca received complete healing. Oh, lymphoma. Thank you for praying for Rebecca, Apple. Yes, Lord, help her be healed in Jesus' name. Lymphoma, be gone in Jesus' name from Rebecca. Just go away, dry up, whatever you got to do to get out of her body. Just be gone. Amen. Complete healing. That's right, Apple. Complete. Rebecca will stay in our prayers all day today. Amen. Hugs for everybody. I was at a hotel in Galveston when someone jumped. Oh, that's horrible. If they could have just reached out and said, Can anybody give me a word of encouragement right now? I want to really go jump off a roof. Like, I bet whoever heard that would be like, don't do that. Well, some people are so cruel and mean and vicious and violent. They'd be like, I've heard some bad things. There's bad people out there. They don't care. Some of them don't, but some of them do. And those are the ones you want to, pay attention to and listen to, not the evil ones. Even the deer are leaping to their death. Look at this. It's raining deer in a small northwestern Pennsylvania town, and residents say that's both disgusting and dangerous. Approximately 25 white-tailed deer have leaped to their death from the U.S. 2019 bypass that runs through the town of Johnsonburg, Elk County, in recent years, according to the recent report by WJAC-TV Johnstown. While some of the deer land in wooded areas and fields, one portion of the bypass runs above a populated area. Homeowner Bill Boylan said one deer nearly landed on his fishing boat beside his garage. I imagine a deer falling to the street from 60 feet. That's what it's like, Boylan told the Inquirer on Wednesday. There was a high school student shot and killed in York City. 6 teens killed in Oklahoma crash were in the car that seats 4. I did hear about that last one. Let's see. Here's a little video.
Easily diverted if they would put up a fence on the point of this hill. In the background, there's 8 deer that have jumped off this bypass recently. Since we lived on the other side of the bypass,
hold on, I want you to see the deer. I know it's gross.
There's 8 deer that have jumped off this bypass recently. Since we lived on the other side of the bypass, we've had 25 deer jump to their death in a populated area. That end of the bypass is probably more dangerous than any other area because that's the only place that it crosses over a populated area.
Bill Boylan and other residents tell me they tried reaching out to PennDOT, but say they did not get the response they were hoping for.
PennDOT apparently doesn't see the wisdom of putting maybe a diversion fence for the deer or maybe some nets to catch all the debris that comes off from the snowplows that plow it over. We've contacted PennDOT on different occasions. Also the Game Commission. The Game Commission's been very cooperative.
Without some sort of barrier, Boylan says the deer will most likely continue to jump.
What happens is here, the deer could be very easily diverted if they would put up a fence on the point of this hill. They come down off of here, they get frightened out onto the bypass, they panic, one jumps off, and they all leap off.
Julie Patasak also reached out to the state and regional game commissions. She says they pointed her to PennDOT, but she says she feels this could impact the hunting season in the region.
All of them are doe, and that's, potentially could have been how many more deer populating if they wouldn't have died. They are the mothers to carry the baby deer.
And with the warming weather, she fears the bodies will start to stink.
But they're literally jumping to death. And that, to me, looking at them, it's disturbing.
We talked to PennDOT about the situation, and they tell us they are now looking at it.
We started taking a look at it, trying to really determine where the deer are coming from. How are they ending up on that bridge is really the problem we've got to solve first before we can determine if there's anything we can do or not.
He says PennDOT became aware of the deer only 2 weeks ago, and that they had a conversation with their people a week ago about the issue.
I'd say over the next couple of weeks, we'll try to get an answer together and, or try to get at least an idea of what's going on and what's causing the
idea.
We understand.
Get an idea.
We'll look into it and see if there's something that we can do that involves the roadway that we can make it safer for the animals and obviously anybody that's a resident in that area. So we'll definitely take a look at it and see what we can do.
Reporting in Johnsonburg, I'm Douglas Braff.
My grandma used to call it like that. An idea? You got an idea about that? Oh dear. I gotta make a little joke, okay? I love deer. They're very peaceful, and I have special stories about deers. This is a really kind of weird day. All right, North Korea test launches missile probably capable of reaching Washington. Isn't that lovely to hear that we could get nuked by North Korea over there by Washington State or California? Just saying, like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just say, I'm not scared. North Korea fired an intercontinental ballistic missile Thursday that Japanese officials say it is its most powerful to date and capable of reaching the east coast of the United States, ratcheting up tensions amid stalled nuclear negotiations. So the nuclear negotiations, we've been talking about that all, for the past however long, whenever it started. So I'm not going to read all of that. But just know, North Korea, South Korea, China, Taiwan, it's all got to go global. So they're going to be part of regions. They got to, just keep those 10 regions in mind that they're going to try to, have these 10 kings in the Bible. The beast has 10 horns, and there are 10 kings. And dialing up pressure, North Korea tests long-range missile. See there? North Korea test fire, possibly its biggest. They got the same story. It's Project Mockingbird. They got the same story. Okay, Vladimir Putin's defense minister vanishes with heart problems as war stalls. Okay, his defense minister. He's touching his face. Amid suffering health problems. So his defense minister, and then we've got the guy yesterday that I reported on, Charles, what's his name? The black guy. Pull up my Twitter now. I'll find him. I'll find him. He's in here somewhere. Where's he at? He's the Supreme Court guy. It was yesterday. This was yesterday. Where is he? I gotta know his name. Where is he at? Man. Did they take him down? Did you guys see him? I didn't see him. Oh, this is still yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was a big day. Wow. I don't see him. There's that black guy. Aww. He'll start barking at me. Yeah, I've gone all the way through yesterday. Well, that's weird. Maybe he died. Maybe they don't want people talking about him. Oh, Biden is speaking. Okay, the Economic Forum. Okay, Supreme Court Justice. What's his name? Something Charles. The black guy. This guy right here. What's his name? Anyway, that guy, he was sick, and he was in the hospital for 3 days, and now today's day 4, and no one's saying whether he went home from the hospital or not. Okay, let's check out segue. Let's check out Joe Biden. If he's speaking, we might listen to a little doo-wop, and I'll let the dog out. I like PBS. Like, see if they're doing it. Here we go.
I guess I'm not supposed to say where I'm going, am I? But anyway, I
I'll
hope I
let you
get to
listen
see
for just a minute. I'll be right back.
a lot of people. Marcus, Der Spiegel.
Why is NATO spelled backwards at the bottom?
Thanks, Mr. President. There's a presidential election coming up in 2024, and as you know, there are white. Yes, that's true. And there are widespread concerns in Europe that a figure like your predecessor, maybe even your predecessor himself, might get elected president again. So are there any steps, anything you're trying to do and NATO is trying to do here these days to prevent what you're trying to do becoming undone 2 years from now?
No, that's not how I think of this. I've been dealing with foreign policy for longer than anybody else involved in this process right now. I have no concerns about the impact. I made a commitment when I ran this time. I wasn't going to run again, and I mean that sincerely. I had no intention of running for president again. And until I saw those folks coming out of the fields in Virginia carrying torches and carrying Nazi banners and literally singing the same vile rhyme that they used in Germany in the early 20s, or 30s, I should say. And then when the gentleman you mentioned was asked what he thought, and a young woman was killed, a protester, and he was asked what he thought, he said, "They're very good people on both sides." And that's when I decided I wasn't going to be quiet any longer. And when I ran this time, and I think the American press, whether they look at me favorably or unfavorably, will acknowledge this, I made a determination. Nothing is worth, no election is worth my not doing exactly what I think is the right thing. Not a joke. I'm too long in the tooth to fool with this any longer. And so we're a long way off in elections, a long way off. My focus of any election is on making sure that we retain the House and the United States Senate so that I have the room to continue to do the things that I've been able to do in terms of grow the economy and deal in a rational way with American foreign policy and lead the world, be the leader of the free world. So, but it's not an illogical question for someone to ask. I say to people at home, imagine if we sat and watched the doors of the Bundestag broken down and police officers killed and hundreds of people storming in. Or imagine if we saw that happening in the British Parliament or whatever. How would we feel? And one of the things that I take some solace from is I don't think you'll find any European leader who thinks that I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa, the point is that when the first G7 meeting I attended, like the one I did today, was in Great Britain. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And one of my counterparts, colleagues, as head of state, said, for how long? For how long? And so I don't criticize anybody for asking that question. But the next election, I'd be very fortunate if I had that same man running against me. Thank you very, very much. Whoa. No. Yeah, one final question, right. Hey, look, wait, hold on a second, please. I was supposed to be an hour ago at the European Union meeting and to speak. No, I'm thanking you. So someone I haven't called on before. You. Who are you?
I'm Christina Arfidi from CBS. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, deterrence didn't work. What makes you think Vladimir Putin will alter course based on the action you've taken today?
Let's get something straight. You remember, if you covered me from the very beginning, I did not say that, in fact, the sanctions would deter him. Sanctions never deter. You keep talking about that. Sanctions never deter. The maintenance of sanctions, the increasing the pain, and the demonstration why I asked for this NATO meeting today is to be sure that after a month we will sustain what we're doing, not just next month, the following month, but for the remainder of this entire year. That's what will stop him.
You believe the actions today will have an impact on making Russia change course in Ukraine?
That's not what I said. You're playing a game with me. I know. The answer is no. I think what happens is we have to demonstrate the purpose. The single most important thing is for us to stay unified. And the world continue to focus on what a brute this guy is. And all the innocent people's lives are being lost and ruined. And what's going on. That's the important thing. But look, if you're Putin and you think that that Europe is going to crack in a month or 6 weeks or 2 months, why not? They can take anything for another month, but we have to demonstrate. The reason I asked for the meeting, we have to stay fully, totally, thoroughly united. Thank you.
If we could have everyone stay seated. If we could have everyone stay seated. If we could have everyone stay seated until the traveling package has departed.
Kate Bedingfield. Kate. Staff this way. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, I don't know what we learned from that because I was gone for most of it. I came back just in time to say, he was saying, I'm not the man I used to be, or something like that, as I was, making fun of his talking. The thing is, these people, they know exactly what to say. So I don't have any confidence in anything that they say. Because it's all for show. It's all a game. It's all to keep the people in line. What was I going to show you? Where was my head? I'm not with it today. I'm sorry. I was going to show you something. Oh, I know what it was. The pictures. The pictures that I have in the thing up there. I want to ask you guys something about one of these pictures. Let's see if I could do it in order. Okay, I wanted to kind of explain because they're on your screen. They're sort of small. I wonder if I could. Can't you go back? I gotta do each one. Isn't there like a, I don't know, story mode or something? I'm sorry. I thought I had like an arrow here or something to go to the next picture. Because I wanted to show you. Okay. I'd have to create an album, right? See all photos? Okay, this will work. All right. Okay. So, this one of all the people, that one. So I was watching a video and these guys here, there's Biden, Boris, and the French guy. They all point. Here you go. The guy's like, okay, stay still for 5 seconds. And the guy goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all at once, these 3 guys all at once go 5 like that. And they all point. So they're the only ones like pointing. Isn't that weird? But it was like, I think planned or something that they would be doing it. It's like they're kids. I'm just like thinking about their mindset right now. All these global leaders. Let me show you again. All these global leaders right here. They're all... Is that Trudeau on the corner? Just curious. Yeah, there's Trudeau right there. Canada president. All right, so all these leaders that are going to this economic forum, they're about to decide what they're going to do economically. It's like about corporations and things like that. We talked about that yesterday. How China has their hands in all of it. Do we got any Chinese in here? See any Chinese? I don't know who most of these people are. That guy there looks like a Turkey president. Erdogan? I'm not sure. Do you guys know? Is that Erdogan? I don't know who all these people are. I don't recognize any of them, but they're deciding our fate. They're all about corporations and the New World Order, because the New World Order is about businesses that own everything. It's not just like, oh, they're like leaders of countries that we've elected. No, these are people that have become a leader, and then probably, I mean, I don't know who, half of them, but some of these are presidents. You know, Macron, Boris, our president, Biden, and then there's Trudeau. So they're deciding our fate. And they're acting like little kids, poking their little finger, and it's like they're selling us out. They're selling all of us out. We're all going to become slaves to their system. Because they've got it all, like, you know, owned by those 2 companies, BlackRock and Vanguard. So they're all just, they work for them, but they think they're gonna live, and they're taking all of Russia's money and their boats and all this stuff. And then if someone is not playing by the rules, maybe they end up with COVID or something. I gotta sneeze on that. Sorry. That was a real sneeze too. I wasn't just playing. Oh, I got something really cool to show you too about this reset thing. The Great Reset. It's just a little clip about that DIIA app. Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you. This handshake right here. Okay, so this guy goes up to Biden. And, okay, that's what Biden did to him. Hold on. Here's what he does to Biden with this handshake. See that? Like they shake, and then he puts his hand on top. So I think that's like, I'm controlling you. And then Biden puts his hand on top of his hand. So they got all 4 hands in here going. But I think he was like trying to be dominant over him or something. I'm not exactly sure what their little hand signals mean, but I wanted to show you that. And then this one was just creepy Joe. Like, ugh. So I'm going to show you these 4 in a row up close. See, he puts his hand on the guy right there. And then he acts like he's like buttoning up his shirt. And all of this is within like a few seconds. But I was just like, I'm going to take screenshots of this. This guy looks like he's gonna French kiss him. He thinks something's really funny, but look, he's like getting ready to grope him with his hand. He's like, and there's one more. Hold on. Like, where's his hand at now? Around his waist? I think he wants to take him to bed. And then there was some stuff going on with these two too. But, I mean, there's always something weird going on with that guy, that French guy. And there's always something weird going on with Biden. But I thought you guys would want to see that up close. Just to make your day. He's got this weird look on his face. I should talk. Sometimes I catch myself making weird looks. Alright. This lady died, Madeleine Albright. She was Secretary of State. I think it was during Clinton. This was a boat that was on fire. And this is the boat before it was on fire. And I've got a little story about that. Here's Joe Biden on a bicycle with training wheels, and his shirt has a Hello Kitty on it. And he's got pink tassels. I think he's gay. I mean, don't all those people that go to Bohemian Grove, don't they all have to do it with like a little boy or something? Okay, this was the nuke of... This is an Iranian nuke. You don't want Iran starting nuclear war. That whole thing with Israel, it's going to be bad. And then this one, I don't think I put this one on there, but it's just an outline. It's going to help me with the Great Reset Bible code that I'm working on. I'm going to start working on that a little bit more. Oh yeah, this was, yesterday I showed this one. Poland. Yeah, see, here's my little arrows. Why didn't it? Okay, and Alexander Lukashenko, he's, I think, is it Bolivia or, starts with a B anyway. There's either something going on with both Bolivia and Belarus. I think that guy's, I'll find out. Alright, Putin's invasion of Ukraine is seen as his biggest ever mistake, they're saying. It will harm Russia for years to come. This is saying nearly 75% of the United States counties lost population last year as deaths outnumbered the births. This is crazy. You see that? Most U.S. counties lost population last year as deaths outnumber births. You don't normally, that doesn't happen. So they can blame COVID all they want, but I think, they make the problem and then they have a solution to the problem. And then there's, here's some proof that, lots of people are dying, guys. But they're not gonna make it real big until they can get their numbers and all that on paper and everything. Okay, this right here I listened to, and this is what I wanted to tell you about. It's only like a minute long, the video.
Regarding the Dia app, it got me.
Okay, do you know what they're talking about? Because I did a video on this. Okay, so the DIIA app is what Ukraine is using for the Great Reset. They're already doing it. They're having their great reset. They're the first ones. Ukraine is. And they're going to use all those poor people, those people that have lost their home, lost their job, their kids are in their arms, they have no place to lay their heads, they're starving to death, they have no water. They're going to make them get this app, but they won't have a pillow. But they're going to have the app, and it's going to track them, trace them, social credit score. Oh no, you can't talk about what's going on here. If you give a bad view or away from the narrative, your social credit score, you won't get no pillow. But if you do what you're told and you get this app and you get the vaccine and you stand in line for the food every day and help out around here, help your neighbor, help bury the dead, you'll get extra credit on your social credit score, whatever. They're going to hold them like hostage until they do this. And they might make it sound good, but this is the beginning of the slave system. I mean, well, China's already doing it, but I don't think theirs is enveloped into everything yet. They have like a social credit score, but it's not in an app, maybe, with everything. I don't know. Maybe they do. But this one is called DIIA. And this guy's going to tell you what the meaning of DIA is in different languages.
The DIA app, it got me thinking, and with various languages, so linguistically. So DIA, I know in Ukrainian, DIA translates directly as action. So it's called the DIA or the action app in English. But the word DIA also has other meanings. So, say, for example, in my national language, in Irish, Dia can mean God. So we would say, Buikas le Dia, thanks to God, or thank the God, or as we would colloquially say, thanks be to God, as an Irish colloquialism. But Dia, you can also use it with the devil. So we have Buikas le Dia, thanks be to God. We have Diavel. So we have the devil as well. That's where Dia is. Now, you'll see where I'm getting with this, in a moment, folks. So we have Dia, devil. In Spanish or in Catalan, we have Diablo. We have Diablo, the devil. And I think in Hindi, Dia also means light bearer. So
light bearer. Okay, so I went looking myself to see what I could find, and it means to go through. I was looking at the Hebrew and the Greek. I think it was the Greek. I was kind of liking what I was at. Look, heavenly, divine, she who belongs to Zeus. I didn't even see that. Wow. A goddess venerated at Phlius and Sicon. She was seen by the locals as identical to Hebe or Ganymede. Wow. She who belongs to Zeus. So this is kind of crazy, guys, that they've named it this, isn't it? I don't know what to say about it. Look, here's an old coin that comes up. Is that supposed to be Zeus or something? I don't know. There's more to this. They go deep whenever they name things, like stuff in the heavens and things like that. They always give a credit to the false gods. So Lucifer is the light bearer, if you didn't know. Can't believe it means light bearer. That's crazy. I know what it was. It was cross over. That's what it was. Like, go across or cross over. And if you're, using this app and you're going to be part of the Great Reset and you're getting your Mark of the Beast and you're all hooked in and you're part of the metaverse, you'd be crossing over, all right. I don't know. I mean, it's a crypto coin, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the final crypto coin, but all the crypto coins look evil to me. Like, the things that are on them. Just because this one, like, for Ukraine is, like, stellar. You got the false gods, you got the messengers, or, the stars, or can be messenger, can be angel. They use the constellation and they make it look like the UN with the wheat on the sides, or the Antarctica on the sides, like that go, all the way around. It's all getting serious. That always gives me, like, I get faint when I think about all that stuff with the AI and all that stuff. Rescuers have located the crash site. This was a Chinese guy talking about it. Basically, they found the one of the black boxes. And then there was another guy. I wonder if I got him on here. You want to see. Yeah, you want to see
that
this.
Plane crash.
It's 3 minutes.
In China overnight. Joining me live to discuss this is Sky News aviation expert Byron Bailey. Byron, good morning to you. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a plane nosedive like that, if that image turns out to be correct. What's your first impressions of what you've been able to see, or the information that you've been able to gather so far?
Yeah, good morning, Peter. Well, seeing it plunge vertically at high speed like that just reminds me of pilot suicides that have happened over the years. We've had the German wings deliberate crash of an Airbus. We've had the
another suicide, guys.
Egypt Air.
So we got a plane, we got people, like a group suicide, we got the deer suicides. What's going on?
Out of Singapore. I mean, it is a problem, and the fact that the airplane was obviously totally out of control, going straight down, tends to lead me in that direction. But there are other things. So the flight data recorder is very necessary to sort this one out. But when you think about it, they have a big problem with Uyghurs, so it could possibly have been a terror attack. And as far as the malfunction of the airplane goes, the 737-800 is just such a basic airplane. It's not fancy. It hasn't got fly-by-wire like Airbus and the later Boeings. So it's hard to imagine anything that could go wrong that could cause the airplane to lose control in such a fashion.
Well, I mean, looking at some of the conditions that were about here, the temperature on the day, about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, Byron. The winds were moderate, less than 12 miles per hour. There was no rain about it. As a pilot, what sort of conditions is that to fly in?
No, perfect. No thunderstorms. That's
right.
The only big worry these days. You avoid thunderstorms.
Yeah.
But no, this is shocking. And to see that video of it going straight down at very high speed, what can you say? No.
Is there any chances, Byron, that the G-forces may have caused passengers to black out? Is there a positive in that?
No. To nose over the airplane, you actually get a little bit of negative G. And once you're in a vertical dive, there's practically no G at all. But they would have been screaming all the way down for that 3 minutes. Very rapid descent. And if the tail hasn't fallen off, which I just don't think has happened, then it has to be a human intervention, I think. But we need the flight data recorder, and
that's an awful
going to have to wait.
But I just want to look at some of the figures here, though, that may well cause this to be a catastrophic engine failure. The plane had been cruising at 29,000 feet. It then descended 21,000 feet in just over a minute, but then it briefly regained altitude at about 8,000 feet before continuing its plunge. Could that mean that there has been some failure? The pilot has then tried to correct it, but it was too far gone and couldn't save it. Is that possible?
Nothing to do with the engines. You lose an engine, no problem. Lose two, or you can still keep flying, gliding. But it could well be that there was a fight going on in the cockpit where one guy was trying to commit suicide and the other was trying to
straight
stop him.
down.
It really is difficult to actually suggest what it could be.
Okay, but the recorders will hopefully be able to be recovered in that. Byron Bailey, appreciate your time. Thanks for your insights there.
Most welcome.
He said 3 to 4 minutes or something like that. Screaming all the way down. Ah! Oh, what a horrific thing to think about. Okay, let me go back up just to make sure I get these. Because yesterday I didn't. I skipped something. Alright. Banks are still not cutting off the SWIFT. Ukraine still does not have the weapons. They don't have the jets, missile, air defense it needs. The West is nowhere near close to doing all it can. It says West still buying $1 billion daily in Russian oil and gas. So I guess there's being pressure put on the people to stop using the gas, and as soon as they do that, the price is going to keep climbing. So they have to kind of do it a little bit gradually, or it'll go from $6 to $12 like right off. Like if they do it slow, it'll go 6, 7, 8, 9. You better get some, get your gas filled up. I mean, I don't know what people are already stealing it, shoving a screwdriver in people's gas tanks and draining out their gas and stealing their gas. I mean, I don't know. What can we do? Like put some sort of electricity thing, like, those little zappers. You handshake someone and you go, like put something like that on the car, and when they go to touch the gas, of course, how would you get one, a rubber glove or something, so that you can take your gas lid off and all of that and put your gas in. But yeah, rig up some sort of thing and electrocute them a little. Not to death, just enough to, just give them a little zap. Oh, leave it to me. I'm like a little troublemaker. Alright, commander of the 37th Separate Guards Motor Rifle Brigade, Colonel Yuri Medvedev, was run over by a tank on his own unit. Someone from his own unit ran him over. After casualties in 2021 on his tank, commander won the Russian national tank team's competition. You get run over by a tank, I don't think you're going to be walking again. Man, that lady yesterday, that story keeps going on in my mind about how that those 4 teenagers pulled her out of the car and she was stuck, her seatbelt was on, and she got dragged a little bit, and then it like ripped her arm off. It severed her arm. That poor old woman, she's only like 72 or something like that. She was a grandma of 3. Okay, you start talking about the trainees and the gender come out. The Bender gender came out. And he says, Leah Thomas is not the rightful winner of the NCAA title. So, that's good that he, he came out for her. I mean, him. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm just saying all the wrong things, aren't I? Okay, the reason I took this picture is because, look, it's got two Y's. A double Y. Double Y is this guy, president of Ukraine anyway. He has no experience, and here he sits with the richest man, Schwab. But I took that picture because everybody spells it with one Y, but right here it's got two. Isn't that weird? Anyway, that was the only point I had on that. Yeah, here she is. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright died at 84. Albright, who fled the Nazis as a child in her native Czechoslovakia during World War II, rose to become the first female United States Secretary of State, and in her later years, a pop culture feminist icon. She's with Hillary and one of these.
In Bosnia, wanting a, quote, muscular internationalism. That's according to James O'Brien, a senior advisor to Albright during the Bosnian War.
Our diplomacy must be backed by a willingness to use force when that is essential in the cause of peace. For it is only force plus diplomacy that can stop the slaughter in Sarajevo and break the stalemate in Geneva.
She once upset a Pentagon chief by asking why the military maintained more than 1 million men and women under arms if they never used them. In 1997, Albright was nominated to become the first woman Secretary of State and confirmed unanimously. She was in the post until 2001. During efforts to press North Korea to end its nuclear weapons program, Albright traveled to Pyongyang in 2000 to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, becoming the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the secretive communist-run country. Once the Clinton years and the 1990s were over, Albright became an icon to a generation of young women looking for inspiration in their quest for opportunity and respect in the workplace.
Just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
Ugh. You know, I was thinking she might be okay until this moment. Like, ugh. And then here's this Booker guy. Cory Booker over here. So, I mean, hopefully she was saved. I hope she was saved. Hope she made it to heaven. Hope all these global elite would repent. If they would repent, then the land would heal. And we could go back to normal. But they have to repent. Oh, Hot Serbian here. Hi, Hot Serbian. We got K King, we got Power, we got Sputsy, we got Apple. Woohoo! We got Segway. Okay, here's that ship I was showing you. Maybe unloading the cargo ship with the exact location wasn't such a good idea, Russia. The ship was on fire at the Berdansk port in Russia, occupied southern Ukraine, on the Sea of Azov coast. So there's that boat. Here's another one down here. But wait, maybe more details I got about the attack. At 7:45 a.m., a Tachoka SRBM was fired towards the landing ships Saratov and Tesesarkanikov and Novocherkassk. Saratov sunk at a depth of 5 meters. Konikov and Novocherkassk left port damage, 8 killed on Konikov and 3 killed and 3 injured. Wow, they got some people that died in that. Okay, so here it is. What is that? Some sort of bomb? Okay, here's another video. I don't know if it's got any sound. Guess we'll find out. This looks like oil. And there they are, unloading the cargo. Got your Z tanks. I don't know what all these kind of tanks are, or I'd tell you. War tanks. They're for war. They're for killing. They're for destruction. Alright, we're not going to play this. Listen to it. It's, you know, if you want to watch it, you can go watch it on the thing. I would sit and watch the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure that we'll see the highlights on Twitter, which is just fine with me. I don't really want to watch the whole thing. This guy was pretty good, though. We'll listen to him. Hundreds of people protest over rising prices in Spain, France, Italy, and Albania. Look at all these people. That's not hundreds. That's thousands. It goes all the way back here. There's definitely thousands there, right? At least 1,000. Yeah, let's listen to this guy. It's only 2 minutes.
You said Senator Graham earlier today that you were trying to do what's rational, and you didn't in sentencing in these cases, and you didn't think it was rational to sentence people who had thousands of images by using a computer to the sentencing guidelines, to the mandatory range. I'm sorry, it's not mandatory, to the no longer mandatory range, the discretionary range.
No, Senator, I said the guidelines system is designed to be rational.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why isn't it rational to sentence people who have thousands of images on a computer to more time as opposed to somebody who has 1 or 2 pictures in the mail? In other words, the more images there are, why wouldn't you want to sentence that person to more time rather than less? Why isn't that rational?
Senator, I've answered this question, and I'll stand on what I already answered.
So, but your answer is what? I mean, refresh.
Well, if you would have been there, you could have heard what she said before, but since you weren't there, you don't get the privilege.
My memory.
Senator, I've answered this question. I've explained how the guidelines work, and I'll stand on my answer.
But the guidelines are not mandatory. I wish they were, but they're not. The Supreme Court made that determination. I'm trying to understand why you think it's rational not to sentence criminals based on the number of images they have. You say that this is a policy disagreement that you have with the guidelines. This gets to the core of your judicial philosophy. You served on the Sentencing Commission, where you recommended changes to the guidelines based in part on this policy disagreement. So I think it's relevant and indeed vital we understand what the policy disagreement is. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Senator, I previously explained what the policy disagreement is, and I will stand on my answer.
So you're not going to answer my question?
No, I've answered your question in my answer.
You haven't answered my question. I'm sitting here asking you, and you're declining to answer.
Wow. Right? So, but the point is, because you get off on this, well, you said this and that, and well, then you were in charge of the policy and whether or not these, you know, thousands of nude pictures of children was part of the policy to like how to punish people or something. I don't know. I wasn't there either. Could you repeat it for me so I know what's going on? But she's just like snippy about stuff. When Marsha Blackburn was talking to her yesterday, she had this little like smirk on her face. I hate that. I hate when people get this little smirk on their face, because they're just like, they're hiding behind their little attitude. It's sick. I wouldn't vote for her. Just, I mean, not even knowing what her policies are, if that's how you treat people, I wouldn't say yes to her. I mean, when we get to heaven, we're going to have a judge. It's going to be God, and he's a completely fair judge. He didn't write his policy so that favoritism for this one and no favoritism for that one. All will be judged equal. Like, this is how God's character, this is the way God is, and if you stepped out of line, then, you know, like, this is why, I think is what it's going to be, is like, this is why when you mouthed off to that person, this is why God took out your tongue while you're on earth, or, you know, or you ended up with a fever blister, or you scorched your tongue on some chili because you mouthed off to somebody. It's like, you know, some of the punishment, like, you know, you get now, and then when you get to heaven, if you're, like, say you're not punished for something while you're on earth, and you get to heaven. Some people are definitely going to disagree with me on this, but I think it's going to be worse for you than you getting your tongue scorched or whatever. You are going to understand how you cause someone else pain. Not that God's going to send you to hell for it, but that you're going to feel the right amount of you know, you're going to get the right amount of understanding about the consequences of your actions. That'll be your punishment. That'll be your reward for the evil that you did, because you will be rewarded for good or the evil that you've done. And, I'm sorry, not or, you will be rewarded for the good and the evil that you did. Now, how do you get a reward for good? You get something pleasant, right? Something good. Something like hanging out with Jesus and in the forest on a horse with some, you know, just like some sort of treats that never were on earth, better than manna, or, you know, better than, I don't know, something really chocolatey. I like chocolate. So maybe you get to hang out with Jesus for a while, just you and him, for a reward. I want that. I hope that's one of my rewards. But for the evil that I did, if I didn't repent, like, I believe, like, if you repent and, you know, you talk to someone, you say, I am so sorry I did that to you. I'll try never to do that again. I'll try never to hurt you. And again, like, really mean it from your heart. Because God knows your heart. If you just say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, like, and you don't mean it, does it count? I think God's fair and he knows your heart. So what I think is that the evil that you do, you will understand the consequences. Not just like, you know, how you didn't change because you did this thing and you never turned away from it, but how it affected other people. And I always use smoking as an example because that was something that I overcame. But I would see children on a bus and I'd be sitting there smoking and they'd be out the back window of the bus waving at me. And I'm like, oh, you know, like it, you know, like I hide it from them so that I don't affect them. But what about the other people that I affected? Say I was smoking around someone that was trying to quit or had quit for 20 years, and I just like had that cigarette going and they smelled it and they were like, oh man, that just smells so good. Let me have one. And like that affected them. Maybe they end up with cancer or something. Like, you're going to know the steps that were a result of the consequences of your sin. So it might not just be you that you're affecting. You might be affecting other people. You may be in the wrong place, you know, that God wanted you. He has a will for you. He has a path for you. If you're on that path and you're doing what God asked you to do, then you're in line with his will. Not that we don't stumble around, even in his will, we have our own flesh and everything. So I think we're going to understand the path that God had for us had we not gone down that path of sin. That's what I think Judgment Day is about. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I've prayed about it. I've put a lot of thought into it, and I know my God. I know how his character is. I know how he loves us and he doesn't want us to sin, and how he, his heart beats for us, and our heart should beat for him passionately in these last days. So I just encourage everybody to just keep reading your Bible and just build your relationship with Jesus, because he's always with us. And when we praise him or thank him, he inhabits the praises of his people. So he's in the room. He's inhabiting, his presence comes down. His presence it can be so thick, if you just spend time with him. Okay, I'll quit on that. So what do we got here? President Putin.
Мною принято решение в самое короткое время
реализовать read this one. I have decided to implement a set
решение в самое короткое время
measures to switch over payments
комплекс мер по переводу оплаты. Начнем с этого.
As soon as possible. Let's start with our natural gas.
Газа, переводу оплаты нашего природного.
Switch over our payments for our natural gas.
Так называемые
supplied to the so-called unfriendly countries into Russian rubles. Tit for tat, right?
Российские рубли.
Российские рубли.
Российские рубли.
Российские рубли. Would you like to pay in Skisi rubli? Well, you're going to, because you guys sanctioned us. Now we're going to sanction you in a way that will hurt you. No more, I don't know, petrodollars or whatever for them. This guy I don't want to really hear what he has to say. You can go watch it if you want to on Sky News. But just look how bad he looks.
As an individual.
That's only a minute. We'll play it.
And as a representative of all those courageous people and people who believe in freedom of dreaming, is that man, that person on the planet today who has most significantly risen to the kind of challenging occasion that we see rarely passed by human experience. I find the people and their president so entirely moving.
I don't know how to describe how entirely moving that makes me feel. Like something from the pit of hell or something. I mean, that guy moved me into a state of depression. What did you guys think of this Sean Penn? He looks like he's his liver's screwed or something. His eyes are all bloodshot, yellowy, maybe he's got cancer or something. I don't know. He looks really bad. Ugh. I used this picture yesterday. I got it off of images. I just typed in New World Order and I got that picture. And then this guy here, it was just weird. So I subbed him or whatever, added him to my list. He's got some good memes. Jury memes. But he used that same image, but he's got this whole satanic thing going on behind it.
Now's the time when things are shifting.
and there's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
It's that clip that I did a little editing, but he went like a way big step further and put in a pentagon or pentagram and some stuff in the background, some candles. Pretty cool, man. Wish I could make memes like that. That's awesome. Professor, I'm not sure if I can play this one. Oh, okay, it's not about the you know what, so I can play it.
I think most importantly, this is the position of the
I know.
Iranian government and of the IRGC, and it's being made very clear to the Zionists, the apartheid state of Israel, its primary supporter, the United States, and the world, that Iran's period of strategic patience is over in this regard, related to all of the crimes and terrorism that the Zionists have engaged in that you just mentioned, and a new era of, let's say, strategic response, that is direct attacks in exchange for Israeli attacks on Iranians or Iranian territory, wherever Iranians may be. And so whether the response, the ballistic missile strike on the Mossad outpost in Erbil was in relation to the killing of 2 IRGC officers in Syria, or the attack by the Zionists, which was confirmed by the New York Times, having originated in the semi-autonomous Kurdish zone in Iraq, whether a response to the Kermanshah base attack or the Syria attack, it is clear abundantly by way of the missile attack on Erbil that such attacks will be met with at least parallel attacks, if not ones of greater strength.
Wow. To answer your question, Serbian, when I smoked for, I think it was around 18 years that I smoked. I was gonna quit after 10, like before 10 happened. I tried three times to quit. I quit 9 months each time. I quit when I was pregnant. I quit 2 other times, and then it was like the 4th time that I quit. That was it. I haven't smoked since. That was either 3 or 4 years ago in June. Probably 4 years in June. So, but I didn't smoke it without the filter, I don't think. I mean, if I did it once, I probably didn't do it again, because I have done that. It's gross. I have to have the filters. Ugh. I mean, so, you know those machines, where you put it in the little thing, and then you put the empty cigarette with the filter on the little thing, and then you put your stuff in there, and then you take the handle and like that, and it pushes it, sticks a rod into the cigarette and pushes the tobacco in there, and that thing used to always get crammed and like broken. So it was kind of a step towards, like, well, it was cheaper. That was probably, that was why I did it. But that was a step towards not smoking. I tried a bunch of different stuff. I never tried the patch. Never tried any pills or anything like that from a doctor. But I tried the gum. I tried the mints. And then I got to what I did last, and I kept making like rules, like a date. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna start like this date. I tried that. Like, I'm gonna smoke a pack a day, and then I'm gonna go down 10 cigarettes each week, and do it like that. I tried that, but I ended up trying the oil with the the fake smoke with with the flavoring in there. I even forget what it's called now. And I did that for, I think it was like 1 month. I did it for a short period of time. But and then I went to the mints, and then I went to, as soon as I got off of that, then I went to regular mints. And the whole time while I'm trying to quit smoking, as soon as I stopped, the tobacco cigarettes, I started crocheting. And I've made, this is one of the blankets that I've made. If you can see that, that's one of the blankets. So I started crocheting, and that helped keep my hands busy. But now I don't even think about it. Now it's awesome. Now it's like, that's done. Yeah, the vape is not good for you. It's actually really bad for you. But it was just part of me, getting to that place of quitting. So now I'm sure that whatever that month of vaping didn't hurt as bad as continuing on smoking. Yeah. It is, it's like it has a hold on you. You're a slave to it. Whatever you're addicted to, you're a slave to. So I like being free of it.
Most importantly,
Okay, Russia ambassador says Poland has blocked embassy's bank accounts. So the Russian ambassador is saying that Poland won't let the embassy in their country, that's Russia, the Russian embassy, can't use any of Poland's bank accounts. So their money in Poland at their embassy is like, they can't do anything. Wow. Like, when I think about this, I make it personal, because that's what they're going to do to us. I just keep reiterating that in my head. Like, if I just say, oh, it happened, look what happened to Putin. No, that's what's going to happen to the American people and the people all around the world when this digital ID thing comes in. You'll barely get by. They'll make it to where you're eating bugs. I saw something yesterday. Ugh. Flies. Like the larva. You know what that is? I saw that on Alex Jones. Maggots. They're going to make us eat maggots. Maggots and pumpkin seeds. Okay, so when you see, Russia's getting punished, he's the bad guy, you're the bad guy next. So just know, like, this whole thing is just like, it's so crazy. I don't even know what to say about it. Ukraine army said it had surrounded the Russians in Irpin. I keep hearing Irpin. They must be getting heavy over there. It's near Kyiv. The Belarusian battalion named after Kalinowski is taking part in the fighting. So Belarus, we looked that one up. It's not a NATO country. It's kind of neutral or something like that. So it's above Ukraine, somewhere up near the top, I think, on the left maybe. Belarus. So keep that one in mind. We need to be praying for that whole area. If that's near Lviv, that's on the west side. This is reportedly the Black Sea Fleet Saratov Project 1171 large landing ship on fire. This was a pretty good picture of that one. It kind of shows that there was another ship right here, and then it's kind of sinking. I guess some people died on that, sounded like. Okay, I haven't listened to this. It's like 2 minutes long, but remember that company I was telling you about that owns the world? Look at this. BlackRock, the company that owns the world. So we're going to watch this. It's only 2 minutes.
There's a good chance you've never heard of BlackRock. Founded in only 1988, in less than 30 years, this American financial firm would grow to become the company that owns the world, managing assets worth $6.3 trillion. These are assets that belong to their clients, mainly the pension funds of ordinary people, teachers, police officers, nurses, and many more. And that's just the beginning. BlackRock has also developed a software platform called Aladdin to perform risk analysis for its clients. It receives sensitive data from banks, insurance companies, and other important institutions. Through Aladdin, BlackRock has insights about the management of financial assets worth another $20 trillion. BlackRock also has shares and voting rights in many of the biggest European companies, in sectors such as energy, oil and gas, transportation, food, and of course, finance. The company holds public debt in the form of bonds and has real estate interests. And still, there's more. Our Rock, you see, wears many hats. Aside from being an investor, it is also an auditor and an advisor. Governments and central banks invite a BlackRock subsidiary called BlackRock Solutions to audit them and to provide advice about the management and rescue of banks. Yet at the same time, BlackRock is often a major shareholder in these same banks. In other words, the company often sits on both sides of the table. BlackRock Solutions gets privileged access to highly sensitive information that could be valuable to BlackRock itself. Does this constitute a conflict of interest? No, says BlackRock, which claims that the company has established Chinese walls between its different subsidiaries. In January 2018, BlackRock's founder and chairman, Larry Fink, sent a letter to all of the CEOs of the companies BlackRock is invested in, asking them to do more than deliver financial performance and make a positive contribution to society. So BlackRock not only owns the world, it also wants to save it?
They made it kind of cute, right? I need a new vehicle bad. I need a vehicle I can drive along distance highway speeds that gets good gas mileage. Wouldn't like maggots. Those are for reptiles. Serbian, I pray that you get a car that works good for you, that's good on gas, and it gets you where you're going, and it doesn't end up, you know, something too fast where if you get in an accident that you would get really bad hurt. Or like a Porsche, you know, those things like kind of fly apart, you know, like you just be all over the road. Your body parts, I mean. So I pray that you get a car in Jesus' mighty name. I got faith today, so I'm praying for people today. NATO leaders meet in Brussels to discuss Ukraine. Okay, you get to see this a little bit. Just watch the handshake a minute. See how they like pulls him to him, and like they're looking deep within each other's eyes. And he wants to kiss him. He's giving him a little of this. Let me shake it a little more. Let me shake your hand a little longer. All these guys are so touchy. Look how they put their hands on each other and stuff. It's just really creepy. No, you'll get to see him go like that. 5 seconds. Everybody hold still.
Your Excellencies, if I can ask you to look into the camera for 5 seconds. Yes, that camera. Thank you very much. We will proceed to your left
Wasn't as
and
bad
walk
as I
into
thought,
room.
but still, they're like, I guess that's like kind of like groupthink or something. Like when you do something, like say yawn, like if you yawn, then other people start yawning. Maybe if you point, like other people start pointing. I don't know. These people are so weird. The great resist. They will own nobody and they will be unhappy. I don't think they'll ever be happy. I really don't, because they don't got Jesus. The only way you can be happy is if you trust in the Lord. This piece about central bank digital currencies is excellent and terrifying. It's called the CBDC. Caution. A central bank issued digital dollar could enable a dark future. And this was put out March 22nd. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but if you want to go over there, you can go. I'll put it in the description for you. cityjournal.org. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can put it in there right now. I have to do it at the end. Okay. All right, so remember yesterday when there was in New Orleans there was a tornado? Check this out. There's a cruise ship right in front of the tornado. Have you ever been on a cruise ship? Have you ever been on a ship that's, you know, kind of big and you feel the waves and things? See right here. The tornado's right there. So I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, the lightning showed it. I'm sorry. Hold on. One more time. So you can see it, the lightning. See it? Did you see it? Look. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I don't like seasick. Being seasick is terrible. Gender study is free. Just look in ye pants. Class dismissed. $10 million saved. Update from Cossack Gundy, a Brit serving as an enlisted Ukrainian Marine in Mariupol. Uh-oh, he's in Mariupol, guys.
Just a quick message, just confirm I'm still alive. It's March 22nd. Just a quick message about the situation here. We still control the city. Ukrainians are fighting hard day and night. Their will is tremendously strong, and they're not going to be submitted by Russian imperialism. And my second message is about the situation here for the civilians. When we were pushed from our defensive front lines on the Donbass sector, gradually day by day we were pushed back to Mariupol. And since we've come to Mariupol, we're now on the outskirts defending it, just on the very outer districts. But since then, Russian forces have continued to target the civilian areas where we're not located. And I know this firsthand because I've watched it. I've watched multiple Grad vehicles launch their rockets into the civilian areas behind us. And this is the Russian military, so if they're as professional as they say they are, then they would know who they're targeting, which isn't us.
So that's it. Guy from the UK, a Brit, serving as an enlisted Ukrainian Marine in Mariupol. So my stomach's growling now. Corned beef hash sounds pretty good. But I better eat something a little more healthy than that, since I can. But those poor people in Mariupol, they would love to have a can of hash, corned beef. Man, I'm hungry now. Thanks a lot, Serbian. Have you ever had a hot... It's something... I think it's a bad word. The S word. On a shingle. You ever had that? Not really the S word. It's like gravy and I think some sort of corned beef or something on toast with some gravy. They call it the S on a shingle. I set up the foundation in Ukraine in 1990. What's he saying? George Soros.
I set up the foundation in Ukraine in 1990, which was 2 years before the independence of Ukraine.
Where does George Soros figure in all this?
Unfortunately, everywhere. If we talked about some positive results from the activities of this gentleman, then we should have noted some success. But his activity is mainly focused on those countries where he took an active position with his various funds. We remember the countries in North Africa where the Arab Spring happened: Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt. We remember the Tulip Revolution in Kyrgyzstan. We remember the Rose Revolution in Georgia. We remember the Orange Revolution in 2004, and finally, the consequences of not only the Orange Revolution, but also the Revolution of Dignity of 2013 and 2014. This is also his activity. He did not stop. He continued to operate in 2015 and 2016.
Hillary Clinton comes in as Secretary of State, and at that point she sets up a private email system. I think now it's pretty clear that part of what was going on is they were setting up the underpinnings that would set up the Maidan. She introduced a program called Civil Society 2.0.
And what we've done with Secretary Clinton's Civil Society 2.0 program is we've taken one of America's undeniable strengths, the strength of our technology and of our innovators, and we've put them to work in service of our diplomatic goals.
This is a way for the U.S. government to work directly with NGOs like International Renaissance, funded by George Soros, and while working with those NGOs, fund money to them, but also training, and the kind of training that would be used when the Maidan would start.
Do you guys get an eerie feeling about like the crypto and all of that? Like yesterday we watched a video on my channel, you know, the one that I made yesterday, with these coal mining. So there's some sort of leftover stuff when they do coal mining. It's like coal ash or something, and then they can burn that. So they're saying they're like helping the world, you know, by taking that coal ash and burning it again or something, so that they can power those big turbine things that are just like, I thought they were for something else. I didn't even know what they were for. Dutch Sense would zoom in on these places where there's earthquakes, and a lot of times there's these big turbine things, and it's like a building, and I didn't know what they were for, but I'm wondering now if that's for crypto mining. Like they're having these supercomputers underground, and they have to be energized so that they can sit there and just come up with new numbers or calculations or algorithms, or I don't know what it's doing, but I'm just wondering, do they know what it's doing? If it's a supercomputer, if it's, okay, you program the AI, but then at some point AI is going to be sentient or whatever. It's going to be like self-aware, and it's going to have all this energy, this, you know, to do crypto mining or blockchain or whatever all this stuff is. I just get the eeriest feeling like it's like we're like the Matrix, like the batteries, like they want us to be the batteries, and then all we're doing is creating some sort of energy and some sort of algorithms because the AI needs it to be smarter so it can rule the world. So I don't know, like the fallen ones, maybe they're trying to get back into bodies, and they have a long way to go to figure out how to do that, and they have to use some sort of supercomputer or mathematics or something to figure it out. But the thing is, Satan's a liar, okay? And everything they try to do that is not part of God's plan is just a waste of their time. It's just a waste of energy. So they can try all they want to try to trap us here, say, so we can't go through the firmament or go through to the rapture or whatever. I always thought maybe that's one of their goals. I don't know. It's just a thought. Anyway, I'm going down some weird rabbit trail again. Video reportedly of a Ukrainian Stugna strike on a Russian tank. This was pretty massive. There's no sound. There's a movie where Person of Interest. I really loved that. It was a series. And the girl could interface with the computer, which is what they want us to do. They don't want us we won't have to talk. We'll just think, and then the other person can read our mind like a hive mind. But she could interface with the AI. I think that's what the Antichrist wants. Because God can read our mind. And the only way for Satan to read our mind is through me telling him what's on my mind. He can't just read my mind. I mean, I guess there's certain things they can do with computers, but I don't think they can actually I think that's reserved for God. I think there's boundaries that he's not allowed to cross. Limitations, He can't break the firmament. He can't bring the water down. God promised that the rainbow was a sign that he would no longer flood the earth. Oh, this was at that shooting yesterday, in Glendale, in Arizona. There were some people that died. At least one kid, I don't know. They were saying 3 kids, but it might not have been 3.
Yeah.
This might be my last story right here.
Yeah.
It's a good thing because I need to take a little nap. I'm tired. I didn't sleep much last night. It was rough. Okay. There's one more here. Oh, here's Biden come out of the plane. I thought we could see his legs to see if he's a robot. Watch his legs. He does. Maybe he's got titanium hips. That's a thing. He could have had a hip replacement. Remember when he fumbled walking up the steps 3 times? He's doing pretty good. He walks pretty good. Anyway, I don't want to sit and stare at him. He's a creep. Really creeps me out. Okay. Shooting at Tanger Outlets at Westgate. This is in Glendale, Arizona. I've been to that mall. I always think that the walls are so weird in Arizona. I don't know if it's that way out west, all the places, Las Vegas, California. You've got a helicopter view. But they have walls in their backyard. And they got a gate, and then there's an alley. And then that's where you put your trash can. And they come pick it up. I miss the palm trees.
We've got breaking news.
I do love the palm trees. I think that was it, guys. Oh, wait a minute. What's this one? UK to provide 6,000 missiles to Ukraine in new support. Will also pay Ukrainian soldiers and pilots. Man, he looks kind of war ready, doesn't he? He's the power starting to get to that guy's head. Maybe. I mean, the 10 kings, they're gonna start getting arrogant. Oh, this was cool. This was a 360 GoPro reframe time lapse of the Round Rock to Taylor, Texas tornado from Monday. This is really cool. Watch. It's a GoPro. Time lapse. I like time lapse. I really would like to chase a tornado just once. I mean, I'd like to get real close. Not too close, but I wouldn't want my truck to flip over. But that close, I'd like to get that close. That's really cool. I think God would protect me. This is just the fire trucks and the police cars. The mall. Or the... that might be a different place than where I went. That one's called the Tanger Outlet. Yeah, but I know the mall I went to is in Glendale, so... Phoenix is huge. How I learned to love the New World Order.
And now is a time when things are shifting. There's gonna be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway,
Claiming that the Pentagon's new strategy, America has
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
Globe
Because
cop
the global order is changing again.
could
I believe we,
give
and
the United
particularly
States
you,
a
your class, has an
superpower.
incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century in a way consistent with American interest and the common interest.
It's all admitted. It's all admitted. It's all admitted. It's all admitted.
and now is a
That was a good way to end it. Thank you guys for coming. I think I'm going to go over there. I think I haven't watched yesterday's show on band.video. Good to see you, Power. Good to see you, Hot Serbian. Sputsy, thank you for moderating. And Apple. And thank you for all for coming. And God bless your day. Love you guys.